Hi, I'm Mark Mazzaferro, and it's time for a new show on Channel 26. And with us on this new show is Curtis Paxton, who is the Director of Utilities for the City of Vacaville. Correct, Curtis?
Thank you for getting my title right this time, Mark.
You deserve that. You've reached a point in your career now where I should at the very least get your title right.
I would agree.
Okay, good. You're new here, right?
Yes, been here about 3 months.
3 months, yeah. And you, I don't want to get too specific about what exactly your responsibilities are, but you, as the Director of Utilities, or Utilities Director, depending on how you want to phrase it, you're in charge of the Easterly wastewater treatment plant.
Correct.
And water as well?
Water as well.
Water, so the fresh water, and you treat water, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Water, wastewater, and stormwater programs.
That's right. I forgot about stormwater. All right. Well, listen, like I said, you're new to the city. You've been here about 3 months now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself to the community.
Born and raised in Southern California. Some would say the evil empire related in water issues.
Yeah, really.
Northern California, Southern California.
Yeah, that's where all our water goes, right? Down to you boys in the south. Nice. Go on, I'm sorry.
Born in Alhambra, raised in South Pasadena. Went to college at Cal Poly Pomona. Got a degree in civil engineering. About halfway through my program there, I had gone in thinking I wanted to be a structural engineer and wasn't happy. I took a water class and found my calling. So been stuck in water for 30 plus years.
See, now that leads to my next question was, how do you get into the field of water and wastewater treatment? I mean, you know, like when we were chatting on the way down, you know, most little boys want to be an astronaut or a policeman. You know, when you were like 8 or 9, Mommy, Daddy, I want to be a wastewater treatment operator. Is that how it was? Or?
Well, not exactly.
Oh, okay.
But I did want to be an engineer. My dad was an engineer and looked up to him. And so got a degree in civil engineering and focused on the water and wastewater side. Started off my career with the City of Los Angeles. Worked there for about 14 years on the wastewater side. Did some engineering design of treatment plants, and then a good chunk of that was on the operations side. I worked at 2 of their wastewater plants.
Excellent. So I think water and wastewater are, and correct me if I'm wrong on this very broad statement I'm about to make, it's something people take for granted almost. When you really, you know, I certainly didn't understand the depth of how complicated the whole process is and the regulations. I didn't understand any of that stuff until I started working for a city. And when you understand how the treatment plant works and how water treatment works, it's extremely complicated, isn't it? It's not just turn on the faucet, water comes out, hit the handle, water goes away.
For once, you are correct.
Curtis has already gotten to know me pretty well in his short time here.
It is a complicated process. However, it is one that it makes for an interesting dilemma because we really don't want the public to have to think about it. We want people to just feel comfortable turning on their tap and getting a glass of water, or flushing their toilet, or washing their clothes, or taking a shower, and not having to worry about it. So on the one hand, we don't want them to worry about it, but on the other hand, it's very important that people do know everything that goes into providing that service for them.
Well, I think it became real clear when we had to do our upgrade to our treatment plant, when we went from secondary to tertiary treatment. You know, and I'm rushing to my tertiary treatment. What does that mean? It just means a third level of treatment. You know, thanks to various environmental concerns and the water board, we had to add this level of treatment, and it was a very expensive proposition because of where we discharge the water. But looking at what happened at our facility, that's a lot of work and a lot of money and a lot of engineering, isn't it?
It is. And the neat thing about that, though, is the water that's now produced from the facility is able to be reused for things like irrigation. And so we're in the midst of doing a recycle water master plan to look for those opportunities that we can use that water instead of the potable water.
So you're down in Southern California enjoying your life, I'm assuming, and you saw this advertisement for this job here. What made you decide, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot and see if they'll hire me?
Well, I was a weekend resident of Northern California.
Ah, okay.
So I'd been living for the past few years in the Napa Valley on the weekends, and traveling back and forth nearly every weekend. And so I was looking for the right opportunity, one that kind of would fit what my skills are and my experience. And I saw this one, Vacaville. So I started doing some research on the City of Vacaville. And
Did you watch any of our videos?
I did not see any of the videos. I did watch some council meetings, though.
Oh, well, that counts.
Okay.
We produce those too.
But doing research, found that Vacaville was a good place for people to live and to work.
Good. Well, that's good. So, so now you're here, and you've been here 3 months. And I don't want to put you on the spot because you are relatively new, but what do you see? You mentioned recycled water use. What other things do you see happening out at the plant or just in your area in general that you can share with us, whether it's an industry thing or just specifically to our community or what?
Well, I think one thing on the water side, especially, people here have done a great job in securing water supply for the community. So we're well positioned to be able to withstand extended periods of drought. So we've got 3 different sources of water. We have the Solano project, which is from Lake Berryessa, which, by the way, is almost ready to spill. All the recent rains have really filled up Lake Berryessa. We have water from the State Water Project, which we just found out today that the allocation was increased up to 40% of what we're entitled to.
We were down to around 5%, weren't we?
I think that the low, was at 5%. The recent was we were at 20%.
Wow.
So got an increase to 40% there. I expect it will go higher too, based on all the recent rains and snows, which are continuing to pound the Sierras and the watershed. And then we have groundwater. So we're well positioned from a water supply perspective. And so that's one component of what we do. And then obviously you mentioned the Easterly plant, which, by the way, just got Plant of the Year for the Redwood Empire section of California Water Environment Association. And we're hoping that we can get the statewide honor as well.
Yeah, so there's nowhere to go but down for you now. No, I'm sorry. See, I had to jab you, Curtis. You know, we kid because we care on Channel 26. But yeah, that was quite an honor for your team and the plant. And you know, it's nice to know that the money that's been invested is actually, it works. It's benefiting, you know, the community and the environment. So yeah, it's tough every couple of months when you get your water bill, but then again, we're being recognized for our efforts as well.
Absolutely. And back to what we talked a little bit about earlier is, on the one hand, we don't want the residents of Vacaville to have to ever worry about either their water supply or the wastewater side of things. You know, a friend of mine had given me a good analogy a while back, and that was with our cell phone service. You know, every once in a while you'll drop a call, or you won't have service. Cable TV, sometimes cable goes out. When's the last time your water service stopped? or you weren't able to flush your toilet and have it taken care of, or take a shower and have it taken care of.
Listen, let's not challenge anybody out there, okay? But you're right. If it's pretty, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, no, that was my fault. The one time, I had to get out the plumber's helper. But yeah, no, you're right. It just, and again, that's kind of how we started out. You don't even think about it. It's I don't want to say taken for granted, but it's expected too that it's going to work. So, but that leads to another question too. When you talk about, out of sight, out of mind, how about infrastructure? I mean, there's got to be parts of our town where we need to replace infrastructure or needs to be upgraded. That falls on you and Public Works together, I would guess, huh?
That's right. So we have master plans for both the water system and the wastewater system. So there are areas that sewers need to be replaced and upsized. There's old water mains that need to be replaced, and those are all part of the master planning efforts. And you mentioned a good thing that Utilities Department works closely with Public Works Department, right. As well as the admin department as well for the water and wastewater services.
And you mentioned stormwater too, and I mean, we just had a tremendous storm pass through here, and that impacts the treatment plant as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's a thing called inflow and infiltration that unfortunately the sewers aren't strictly watertight, and so there is additional water that gets into the sewer system. So the plant's designed to handle that. On the average, we treat 7.5 million gallons a day of wastewater. The high, I think, in the recent storm was 23 million gallons.
Wow.
So
that's almost 3 or 4 times what you normally treat.
You're right.
And that's just that's because of the storm drains.
Because of the storm water that will get into the sewer. It's not specifically designed to do that. There are separate storm drains that will flow
to creeks,
the
right?
Creeks and then into the delta and then ultimately the bay.
Wow. So if another 16 million is going to the plant, how much more is going into the streams? I mean, it's a lot,
a huge
isn't
amount.
it? Yeah, wow. See, that's another rant for another day when we talk about water in California, right? We let so much water just go down the drain. Well, some you can catch, some you can't, right? Certainly, we're not in a position to start collecting water, but higher elevations, and well, again, that's another topic for another day and another show. But
so the Utilities Department portion of the stormwater program is to protect what can flow into the stormwater, and then Public Works maintains the storm drains and the flood control aspects of it.
And there's as you said, there's a lot of departments. I mean, every department works together, whether it's economic development, public safety, stormwater, delivery of services. I mean, it's a pretty much a team effort in all areas of how the city operates, isn't it?
It is, and actually, that team is when you're asking me again about what drew me to Vacaville. When I went through the interview process, part of my interview process was with other department heads.
Sure.
And I clicked with them.
Oh, good.
So I thoroughly do enjoy working as part of that team.
Occasionally I sit in on interview panels for certain departments, but for some reason they didn't ask me to participate in yours. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad. We'll find out.
Well, I mean, for me, it's probably a good
probably
thing.
Better, yeah.
Yeah.
But I digress, All right. Well, that's great. Well, listen, I think it's great that you're here. You clearly do fit in with the team. We have our A-team meetings, the second and fourth. Oh, I shouldn't reveal that in case there's some terrorists out there. It's like the guys with the recipe for Coca-Cola. Anyway, you certainly fit in with the team. We get a lot done, but we enjoy our work too. So anything else you want to add about your career or your life or your short time here in Vacaville so far?
This is kind of, it fits all the aspects of my experience. I worked in wastewater, as I talked about, City of LA, but I've worked in retail water, I've worked in wholesale water, done groundwater treatment. So it's a nice culmination of all those experiences coming together. The other thing I'd add is that my choice of sports teams may get me run out of town.
Yeah, I didn't want to go down that road, but do not tell me you're a Dodger fan. Oh, okay. Well,
I am a Dodger fan.
you're not alone in our department head collection. So there's more than one Dodger fan in the room. It's all right. We're gonna let it go. It's it's the love of the sport. Okay.
Absolutely, and my choice of football teams, we did just happen to win the Super Bowl again.
Oh my God, he's a front runner on top of it. Well, that's all right. Somebody's got to root for the Patriots. It's like my brothers are both highbrow, long-hair musicians, right? I like rock and roll. Hey, somebody's got to listen. It's what I like, right?
They have long hair?
Yeah, not anymore. I think I have the longest hair in the family now. But anyway, well, I was going to say welcome aboard, but forget it. No. Anyway. Thank you now, during the interview process, did the subject of having your own TV show ever come up? Because that seems to me that would be a strong draw as well.
Well, it didn't, but
wow,
it's just a plus.
And we wonder why we can't recruit better employees. I mean, that's something that needs to be in the bulletin, the announcement.
It's part of the recruitment. And
yeah,
aspects.
Yeah, absolutely. Having this show will keep you here, won't it?
Spending time with Matt?
That's.
Oh, wait, your name is Mark.
Thanks. Yeah, listen, I do the jokes on these shows. All right, you're the straight man. Anyway, so while we're on the subject of the show, we've kind of been avoiding what the show is called. The public works show is called The Works. The community development show is called What's the Plan? So we're looking for a name for this show. We had a couple ideas, and they both fizzled away. So if you have any ideas, and let's use our heads here for what we can call this show featuring Curtis Paxton, our utilities director, please email us at info@cityofvacaville.com. And if we pick your name, I don't know, maybe we'll send you a mug or some other city trinket to thank you for your contribution. So Curtis, officially, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. We're glad to have you here. And thank you all for watching this episode of our new show. And send in those show title ideas, please. Thank you. See you next time.